Giving birth is such an amazing experience. Giving birth shows the extent to which women are incredible. Whether you had your birth via the plan that you had or you had a birth that you did not plan for, I just want you to know that you are amazing, that you are incredible, and that your birth experience is still very beautiful and amazing. My name is Melissa. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'll be sharing with you my birth story. So I'll grab a cup of coffee and a cup of tea and let's dive in. Right, so the due date that was predicted by my OBGYN was it was the first week of April, but we didn't even make it to that week. When I went for my last, if not second last appointment with my doctor, my baby's weight had increased so drastically, right? It's like week after week. I wasn't seeing him weekly, of course, but when we were much closer to the birth date, he did see me weekly. So she was gaining weight so rapidly and she was getting so big. And my birth plan was to birth her naturally. Okay, so I go to see my OBGYN. I see how big she is. And so he tells me that, you know what, your baby is too big. You might need to opt for a cesarean, right? I did not want to have a C-section. So he says it's advisable that you opt for a cesarean. So the problem now is with medical aid, when it's an elective C-section, so you have to pay a certain amount upfront before you can do the C-section. I think we had to pay about 12K upfront before we can, if I had elected the C-section myself. So that was not an option, child. We were about to have a baby, and we really were on a budget. So I tell him that no, I really do want to wait it out and see. I still want to give birth naturally, and just that's what I plan. Because in my mind, what I heard was that before these things were not there, our bodies are meant to carry and deliver our babies. Literally, there are moms who have babies who are over 4 kilograms, and they do give birth naturally. Anyway, so he's like, okay, cool. So that was 30 around 34 35 weeks. So I think I see him on the, oh yes, and then on the 36th week, I had an appointment with him, so I go see him, and sure, baby's weight is approaching 4 kilograms, literally. She was so big. And then he says it again that no, man, your baby is growing so rapidly. By the time you reach about 40 weeks, your baby would have been like 4 point something kilograms, approaching 5, maybe. He was like, okay, you know what we can do, because you want to give birth naturally. So what we can do is we can induce you. Okay, you can come for an induction, and yeah, we can take it from there. Okay, so on that day, I go to the hospital. I booked my room. I mean, we were that close to giving birth anyway, so I booked my bed, and then we went home. And then when we came back for our next appointment, the doctor was like, no, today we're inducing. Come back this evening, and we are going to start the induction process. I had already packed my hospital bag, so we just went home and we got a little bit of extra things that I needed with hubby, and then we drove to the hospital. So when we get there, all COVID tests have been done. We did those I think 2 days prior, if I'm not mistaken. So we did those, but when we got to the hospital, we had to redo the COVID test, because the lab that we used is not the lab that they work with at the hospital. All right, cool. We do the COVID tests, and I wait in the maternity ward and until I was cleared to go in, right? So my husband leaves me there to, like, I stayed during the night, and then the following day the doctor came to see me, right? And we started the induction process. So when we started induction, yeah, the lady comes, who is obviously a nurse. How you induce is, I think there's, like, of course there's different ways and there's different things that they give you, right? So I can't remember what it was that they gave me. I remember I asked, I think they were supposed to give me a minimum of of like 2, to say meals. Was that thing even liquidy? It was gel. So do I say 2 grams? If not 2 meals. Anyway, so they give me that. The doctor recommends that, and he's like, I'll give her this dosage, right? And if she does not progress, then you can give her this dose. So the nurse comes, the nurse is like, all right, sweetie, open your legs. And then she talks me through it, which I think helped. You know, she's like, okay, this is gonna be a little bit uncomfortable. But yeah, you'll be fine. You know what? They need to find a way to actually make inserting anything through our vaginas comfortable. All right. So that lady, so she inserts this gel with a, what is this thing called? It's sort of like it pumps, you know, the gel in, and like it has to obviously sit right there at my uterus. So you can imagine how far she went in, right? That was very uncomfortable. So she did that, and then she was just like, this is probably gonna put you to sleep, and yeah, we'll see how you progress. Right, sharp. And then okay, so she leaves, and then I kept updating my husband what was happening. I told him they've given me this, and I was just waiting out to see what happens next. Right, okay. So a couple of hours later, I start feeling pain, just a little bit of pain. It wasn't intense. It was just like, you know, when you're about to start, well, it's different for everybody, of course, but it felt like mild period pains, right? And I feel that pain, and I'm just like, yes, yes, this is happening, okay? And then, but the pain doesn't progress. Like the pain stays that mild until, like, I think I just got tired and I dozed off. I fell asleep, right? And when I woke up, the pain was gone, and that was it. Doctor came, nurse also came to check up on me, and they were like, "Anything?" I was like, "No, there's nothing." They're like, "Okay, just rest. Tomorrow we're going to try again." I So apparently I think there's like a what is this? There's like a time frame. If you've had that thing that they used to induce, you need to wait ABC hours before you can get it again. Okay. So the doctor's like, oh, okay, well, it's okay. I mean, it happens for some. It happens on the second try. So just don't worry, you know, just get some rest and we try again tomorrow. I get some rest and just wait for the following day. Following day, same procedure. They insert the thing inside and the nurse leaves. Same thing happens. I feel these pains that I can compare to mild contractions, period contractions. Same thing happens. After some time, I dozed off, fell asleep, and I woke up with the pain was not there, you know. And so the doctor comes in and he was like, it is going to be very unsafe if we continue to do this. We've upped the doses and we've tried this many times and we cannot go beyond this. So now the option that you have is just cesarean. It would be very safe to do a C-section. At that moment, I felt, child, why are we crying now? At that moment, I felt so mad. I felt so angry. I felt robbed, and I didn't even have much time to prep myself and think about it. It was a think of, we are going to theater right now. Get her prepped. I remember just feeling numb. You know, I felt so numb, and I called my mom. I wanted to have her through natural birth, and the fact that that was not gonna happen disturbed me so much. It disturbed me so much. Thoughts came to my mind, thoughts about terrible stories I've heard about C-sections, and I did not want to have that. I've never had an operation in my life before, and I didn't want to just have such a major one, right? And so I called my mom and I told her that I was going to theater. Ooh. I told her that I was going to theater, and induction didn't work, and oh, stop crying. Oh my goodness. Right. So I told her that I was going to theater, induction did not work, and she talked me through it. I think that call was the best thing that I made. She was like, okay, just calm down. try to relax because you need your BP to be as stable as possible, right? She talked to me, she was like, okay, so this is what's going to happen. They're going to do this to you and you're going to feel this and this is going to happen, literally the whole process, because she had all of us through cesarean, you know, so she's familiar with this. Um, and After that, I felt a bit of relief, you know, that like I've talked to my mom and she gave that to me even when she was like far away. And I immediately called my husband and I told him to come, and that we were going to have a C-section. And best moment was when they walked me out of that ward in the bed. It was just seeing my husband there. You know, I'm so grateful that during such times, COVID times, I was still able to give birth to my beautiful baby girl with my husband next to me. A lot of people did not um, get that chance, and I'm really sorry if you were one of those. This is such a big moment that you would want at least your partner to be there. So anyway, we go to theater and they prep my husband, like, you know, like gets dressed in these scrap looking like things. And then there was like 100 people surrounding me, or not 100, but I think it's the what do you call them? The guy who was administering anesthesia to me, if that's what it's called. He was giving me an epidural, so that injection they give you at the back. And this nurse who was holding my hands, oh my gosh, she was so helpful. Just like, stay calm, you know, do not arc your back when this goes in. So this is what you're going to feel. This, you know, like being talked through it. It helps being talked through something before you go through it. It kind of like prepares your mind. It really helps. They do that, and then immediately they've given me that. Not immediately, like a couple of seconds later, I start feeling tinglish in my legs. So my legs were going numb, and then now I can't feel my feet. It is so amazing. That feeling when you can't feel the whole lower body part. I pinched myself, touched myself. I couldn't feel anything. So now the procedure starts, right? When the procedure starts, I felt like I knew what was going on because I just used to watch YouTube videos, birth vlogs, and I used to watch C-section videos, even like animation, just to see, you know, like all the layers that they cut through before they get to baby and how they take baby out and you know, and everything like that. So when the operation started, it's sort of like, and I was watching, like the light that was on top sort of like had like there was glass all over it and it was reflecting, so I could see him cut, I could see blood suctions, all of that stuff. So I was just watching the whole procedure and you know I was not scared. And so when they were done, I remember just seeing them take her out and she was so big. Oh my goodness. My baby was so big and he was like, oh yeah, here you go, here's a baby. And he gave her to a pediatrician, and you know they wrapped her up and they showed it to me, and then the ped took her to examine her and you know just all of this stuff while they cleaned me up and sewed me up. And after that, the ped along with my husband went to the nursery with baby, I think, with the nurse, to go clean her up while they finished with me. So they just told me it's gonna take a couple of hours for the feeling in my legs to come back. And then I went back to the word. At that moment when they took her out of me, it wasn't like in the movies. I didn't suddenly feel this incredible love that wow, I'm a mother. Child, I was scared. Okay. I was not really traumatized, but I think I was still in shock. Like they had just taken a whole baby out of me. I had just gone through this, a cesarean section. Like this has just happened to me, you know. I was just in that moment, you know. But when we were now in the ward, and my husband was holding her and we were holding her, it became so real. It was so beautiful. It was so beautiful. I couldn't believe it. It took me days to believe that I actually had a baby, even though the baby was there with me, you know. She was so beautiful. She was so perfect. She looked exactly like her mother. And I was so happy. My husband was so happy. I think he held her for like almost close to 3 hours. They let him stay for that long, and then he had to go home, obviously. I want you to know that if you did not have a birth plan that you wanted, yours is still very incredible. It's still very beautiful. I know a lot of women who have different birth plans to give birth naturally, and they end up having to have a cesarean section. At that moment, I did feel like I was robbed of that opportunity, but then I remembered that it wasn't about me. At the end, it wasn't about me having this perfect birth story where I'm just like, I felt contractions. I was in labor for 12 hours, and the pushing process, the tearing, and all of that. It wasn't me having a perfect birth story to tell, but it was about her being healthy. It was about me having her alive and healthy. A lot of things can happen to babies, and imagine you carry your baby full term, and just to lose her at that last moment just because you want to have a perfect birth story to tell really wasn't the goal for me. So I'm just so glad, and I was so happy that she was a very healthy baby and there were no complications at all. I do bless God for that. Women deserve to be celebrated. Well, I cannot emphasize enough how incredible of an experience it is and how incredible it makes women to be. Now, they gave me a whole baby to take home with. Ooh, ooh, Lord, no, no. See, that was the moment where I was like, hey, well, this just really happened to me. I have a baby, mind you, it's only me and my husband. I was away from home at the time. So what am I supposed to do with an infant? Like, how, child? What am I supposed to do with a newborn baby? Tell me, right? I was terrified. I was terrified, okay? I've never had to take care of such a small baby. Of course, I'm not scared of small babies. I feel like I can even take care of a premature baby. But like the fact that I'm alone and this baby is mine and I have to do everything from nappy changing, which I've never done in my entire life before, okay? Well, God is good. I'm so glad that I had a very healthy, beautiful baby girl, and that there were no complications with me as well. So my story might have not been the one that I had written, but I do believe that it is one that God had written. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you did enjoy watching this video. Let me know in the comment section below how your birth experience as a mom was, how you felt when you gave birth. Was it the one that you had planned, or you had to have an emergency C-section? It happens to a lot of women, and I know a lot of women do feel ashamed and they do feel like they are failures, but I do want you to know that that isn't the case. You are still you're still a very incredible mom to your little child. The best thing you can give to them is just all the love that you can in the world. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on my next video. Bye.